Hey everyone, Mr. Kwan here. Today we're here to talk about everyone's favorite topic, fractions. So let's begin. Well, why is it that pizza is often cut into 8 slices of equal size? Why not 5 slices of equal size? Whether you've thought about this question or not, fractions are useful in helping us divide up this popular food, but fractions help us in many other areas of life as well. So let's define a fraction first. A fraction is written as a divided by b, where a and b are both integers and b is not equal to 0. In a fraction, a is called the numerator and b is called the denominator. Now, if you don't remember what an integer is, that is any positive or negative whole number or 0. So let's jump into class activity 1. On the last page of this outline, there are 4 strips of paper that are about 11 inches by 2.125 inches in dimension. You can either use your own strip of paper that is about 11 inches by 2.125 inches, or you can cut off a strip from the last page. Take your 11 inches by 2.125 inches piece of paper and lay it on a flat surface so that the longer portion of the paper is running from left to right. Fold the left end of the strip of paper from the left-hand side to the right-hand side so that your strip is now folded in half. Then unfold the paper. Your strip should now be split into 2 equal sections. In each section of the strip, write down the fraction that the section represents of the whole. How can we rewrite that fraction as a decimal? How can we rewrite that as a percentage? So hopefully your strip of paper looks something like what we have here, and in each section we want to write the fraction that this represents. Since we folded it in half, we know that this portion represents half of the piece of paper, and this portion also represents half. And the way that we can write that as a decimal, if you're doing this by hand, then we are calculating how many times does 2 go into 1. Well, I need to put a decimal here, and I'm going to put a decimal here. And so now, after the decimal point, 2 goes into 10 5 times, and I can subtract now, and that gives us a remainder of 0. So we have the decimal 0.5, and then now we want to change that decimal into a percentage. And the way that we do that is when you have a decimal, the way to convert it into a percentage is by moving the decimal place 2 places to the right. So if I rewrote that, that would be 5, 0. The decimal point would be there, and then we could write the percent sign. Now really, that's just 50%. We don't need that 0.0 on the end, so these are all equivalent to 50%. So these are 3 different representations of the same value. So we have fraction, we have decimal, and we have percentage. Again, they're just 3 different representations, but they are all equivalent to the same thing. Now take your strip of paper and instead of folding it in half, we want to fold it twice in half so that there are now 4 equal sections on our strip of paper. How can we represent each section as a fraction of our whole strip? How can we represent that fraction as a decimal and as a percentage? So you probably have writing on one side of your paper. So because we're going to write in on the new sections that we folded in, maybe you can flip your piece of paper over and write on the other side. So now that we're on the other side of the paper, hopefully you recognize if we have half of our paper and then we split that half in half, how much are we given? Well, think about it this way. Let's say you have $1 and with that dollar, you have to split it with your sibling. And so if you're going to split it evenly, then each of you are going to get 50 cents. But now each you and your sibling have to then split that 50 cents with your best friend. So You have you, your sibling, your best friend, and your sibling's best friend. So if you're splitting that in half, then each of you are going to get 1/4 of that dollar. And the way that we write that as a decimal, we could do the division again, but hopefully you are able to recognize that 1/4 is equivalent to 0.25, which is the same thing as 25%. And I'll just write it in that first box. You can write it in all of them if you'd like. So we are done with that portion. The next part says, now take the ends of your strip of paper and connect them to form a circular shape. Place that circle on another sheet of paper and grab a pen or pencil. Use the circular piece of paper as a stencil to then draw a circle. Place a tick mark on the outer edge of your circle anywhere there is a fold. Then connect the tick marks that are directly across from each other. Your circle on your sheet of paper should resemble something like this that we have drawn below. In one of the 4 sections, write the fraction, decimal, and percentage of that section as part of the whole circle. Congratulations, you have created a pie chart. So this is 1/4 of our circle, which is equal to 0.25, which is also equal to 25%. Now, when do we use pie charts? Well, pie charts are used in a lot of different scenarios, but they're basically used to convey some kind of numerical data or numerical information. So, for example, let's say we had 20 people in our class, and I surveyed all 20 people and asked them what their favorite movie genre was. And so the different answers that I got back were comedy, romance, action, and horror. So these are all 25% because all slices of the pie are equal and each of the 20 people were evenly divided into one of those 4 categories. So something that you might be able to ask is, out of the 20 people, how many were or found that their favorite movie genre was romance? And in order to calculate that or figure that out, there's a lot of different ways that you can do this, but 25% again is equivalent to 1/4. So what you could do is you could do 20 times the fraction 1/4. So let's go into talking about how we multiply fractions. So basically we want to multiply the numbers 20 and the number 1/4. Well, I'm going to rewrite 20 as a fraction. I'm going to write it as 20 over 1, and that's okay to do that because 20 divided by 1 is still 20. And the way that we multiply fractions is by multiplying the numerators together and multiplying the denominators together. So I'm going to use a little circle or oval to indicate that I should be multiplying 20 times 1, which is 20, and then 1 times 4, which is 4. So now I have the fraction 20 over 4, but we know that that is a division statement. So 20 divided by 4 is 5. So we could say 5 people chose romance as their favorite movie genre.